Recovery for yourself, recovery for your marriage can just really be hard. I was talking to someone the other day and I said this to them and I thought it would be a good title for a vlog, which is, your head can be a scary place to be. It just really can. I mean, the reality is, psychiatrists will tell you that it takes 1/200th of a second for you to flood emotionally or mentally, if you will. And at that point, you are triggered, you are flooding, your heart rate is over 100 beats per minute, and you, if you're the person that's flooding, really can't hear or process what your spouse is saying to you. If you are in that moment where you're communicating with someone who is flooding and their heart rate is spiked, they have kind of gone into la-la land, I mean, it would be wise for you, and this is mostly the unfaithful spouse, it would be really wise for you to try and graciously terminate the conversation or graciously, humbly listen to what they're saying, allow them to kind of finish, and then take a time out. Because once you're flooded, once you're out there in la-la land, it's tough to come back, if you will, in a moment's notice. A lot of times you need a time out or a break. The reality is, whether you're an unfaithful spouse or a betrayed spouse, your head can be a scary place to be. I mean, you just begin to find yourself lost in so many what ifs and what could be's and what should have beens, and oh my gosh, that means that when they were doing X, Y, and Z, they really weren't. They were actually with their affair partner, or they were doing this, or they were doing that. And then as you begin to kind of get out into the what-if world, you begin to spiral, and you begin to have your head go crazy, and before you know it, you are down the road 1,000 miles into scenarios that probably won't even happen. It's a difficult place to be. Your head can be an incredibly crazy and overwhelming place to be. And you need a few things if you're not going to be a prisoner to your emotions, or a prisoner to your thought life, or a prisoner to the what ifs and what abouts and oh my goshes. The mind is a battlefield. It just really is. If you come to the EMS weekend, Rick and Leslie talk about that. If you take some of the courses, they will discuss with you that your mind is a battlefield. If you're a betrayed spouse, you understand that incredibly. If you're an unfaithful spouse, you can understand that for some unfaithfuls who are trying to decide between, do I give my marriage a shot, do I go be with my affair partner, and the insanity that goes into that, just chaos, you understand your mind can be an incredible battlefield as well. If you're someone like me, that can be very emotional. It's even worse because your mind just goes bonkers. I'm not super analytical, and I enjoy that about me because there's certain people in my life who are super analytical, and it's exhausting. But these super analytical people can find themselves kind of all over the map as well. The fact is, your head can be a crazy place, and you need a few things to find sobriety. And I don't mean that you're an addict, I just mean that you need a few things to kind of ground yourself and find a way out of the mental chaos. The first thing I think you really need is, I'm amazed at how many people that I talk to that are not doing any recovery work. And I'm sorry, just general counseling, I don't know that I would call that really serious recovery work, unless it's really got some speed to it and it's really got some discipline about it. But you need to do recovery work if you're not going to be a prisoner to your thought life. And there's the boot camp on the website that's free. It's 7 days. It probably will take you more than 7 days to do it because it is very thorough. There's different books that you can read. And don't underestimate the power of taking a good book like some of the John Gottman stuff we've talked about before, or Love and Respect, or a lot of different things that are out there, Every Man's Battle. There's really a benefit in taking a book like that and going through a chapter or two a week, sitting down together and talking about it. But you've got to do recovery work. You've got to have a place where your mind can go. You've got to be able to actually do recovery work, or I'm sorry, you're not going to fix your spouse. Your spouse isn't going to fix you. You are not smart enough to save yourself from the collateral damage that is stalking you every day as you try and find healing. Another thing that you're going to have to do to set yourself free is you're going to have to choose your thoughts. Now, that seems pretty ambitious, but what I mean is there's a term called shifting your focus. And what that is that when you're bombarded with certain thoughts, call it the what ifs or call it the flooding or the triggers, you have to have a moment where you say, no, I'm going to shift my focus. Now, that might be you shift your focus. If you're a person of faith, you can pray. And maybe you identify a certain person that you're going to pray for every time you start to feel triggered or flooded. That person's going to get a lot of prayer. Maybe you're not a praying person, but you think, man, I'm going to write, I'm going to journal, I'm going to do something. Maybe you're going to do push-ups. I talked to a woman who said, every time I get flooded, I do some kind of a workout activity. And it was very cathartic for her. But you've got to shift your focus to something else, or else you're going to sit at your desk or in your chair, or you're going to be in the kitchen, or you're going to be driving, and all of a sudden you are in so many destructive places. You've got to have a way to shift your focus to something else to free you from the prison of chaos and depression that you're going to fall prey to if you don't shift your focus. It's the old adage that says, I can't stop birds from flying over my head, but I can stop them from making a nest in my head. And so you have to empower yourself. You can choose your thoughts, or you can choose how you respond to the thoughts that bombard you on a daily basis. Another concept that you're probably going to really have to grab hold of is you're going to have to develop some grit and some tenaciousness, because this is not for the faint of heart. If you allow yourself to be strapped in by the thoughts, the flooding, the chaos, it's going to harm you. It really is. And many of you are out there on the site or who watch these videos, you have been harmed, not just by your spouse, but by the chaos of the mental anguish and despair that you fight. And so you're going to have to get up. You're going to have to fight back. You're going to have to push back. You're going to have to decide that you are not going to be a punching bag any longer. You'll also need someone that's a trusted friend. Now, it's really hard to find someone who's going through it or gone through it before, and you can certainly find them on the site. But you're going to have someone that you can recruit that's a trusted, safe friend, and same sex, I might suggest to you, that you can vent to or talk with that will help you and be there for you and just be a safe place for you to process. Maybe you're going to have to send a text firestorm that you yell and scream at them or cuss. I don't know. Maybe you have to be able to call somebody and just cry. And they're not going to try and fix it. They're just going to listen to you. But you're probably going to have this discussion with them that says, look, I'm going through X, and I need you to be a friend. I need to be able to process with you. I don't need you to fix it or give me advice. I just need you to be a safe place. That person will save your life. It will be a wonderful resource to help you make it through. Finally, I'll just kind of shotgun a couple things. You may need to think about medication. I did it for a little while. It helped a little bit. Maybe you just need something to take the edge off. Maybe you need to go more of a homeopathic route and go to a pharmacy and find some over-the-counter stuff that'll help you find some balance. But your head can be a crazy place to be, so you've got to find a way to not be a slave to your emotions or the craziness that we all suffer from time to time.